The Korean Demilitarized Zone, 2 a.m., November 28th. The cold is a weapon. Total absolute darkness. A three-man fire team of U.S. Marines is on a routine patrol. They are just 200 meters from North Korean territory. Then out of the blackness, gunfire. It's not coming from the south, it's coming from the north. North Korean soldiers, a squad of 20. They've crossed the DMZ, shattering the armistice, and they are moving with speed and purpose toward the American position. The Marines scream for backup into their radios, but it's too late. They are cut off, surrounded. Within minutes, they are taken. Hours later, North Korean state media broadcast the news. 3 American spies have been arrested, captured, they claim, while illegally infiltrating the motherland, the Democratic People's Republic of Korea. Pyongyang issues its demand, a $20 billion ransom. If the money is not paid, the Marines will be executed. Kim Jong-un was certain America would negotiate. He believed they would pay. He was sure they would back down. He was catastrophically wrong. Because what North Korea didn't know was this. The USS Makin Island, an amphibious assault ship carrying 2,000 combat-ready Marines. It was just 60 miles off the coast. And the U.S. military had just greenlit a rescue operation. A plan so aggressive, so overwhelming, that in less than 17 hours, those 3 Marines would be coming home. This is that story. The story of the most daring Marine Corps rescue since Vietnam. The operation that sent a shockwave through Pyongyang. And the day Kim Jong-un learned a hard lesson. America does not negotiate with kidnappers. The Korean DMZ, 4 kilometers wide, 250 kilometers long, the most heavily fortified border on planet Earth. On one side, 2 million North Korean soldiers. On the other, 28,000 American troops. For 70 years, a tense, fragile peace, broken only by the occasional incident, a shouting match, but never all-out war. Until 2:34 a.m. November 28th. That's when 3 U.S. Marines, Sergeant James Mitchell, Corporal David Chen, and Lance Corporal Sarah Rodriguez, were conducting a standard patrol in the dead of night. The southern edge of the DMZ, the most heavily fortified border on Earth. A routine patrol, night vision active, radio check-ins every 15 minutes. All was quiet. But then came 2 a.m. The scheduled radio call was replaced by the sudden crack of gunfire. Contact, contact. The last transmission was a nightmare realized. North Korean soldiers inside the zone. We have 20-plus hostiles. We are. Then silence. At the Joint Security Area Command, the line went dead. Officers scrambled. Satellites were tasked. Drones rerouted. What they found was a worst-case scenario. 23 North Korean Special Forces operators. They hadn't crossed the line. They had gone under it. Not over the demilitarized zone itself. That would have been seen instantly. This was different. They had tunneled beneath, emerging just 50 meters from the unsuspecting Marine patrol. It was a perfectly executed ambush. The 3 Marines fought back hard, rifles firing, training kicking in. But the odds were impossible. 23 against 3, they were completely surrounded. Outnumbered, outgunned, their ammunition spent. At 2 a.m., the fight was over. The Marines were overwhelmed, captured. They were dragged across the border, into the darkness of North Korean territory. By 3 a.m., they were deep inside a North Korean military installation. An underground bunker, interrogation rooms waiting. By 4 a.m., the next phase of the attack began. North Korean state media broadcast the stunning announcement to the world. 3 American Marine spies had been apprehended. Caught, they claimed, while conducting illegal reconnaissance. Inside the sovereign Democratic People's Republic of Korea, the broadcast alleged they had confessed to all espionage activities, and they would face revolutionary justice. There was one way out, a demand to the hostile United States, a payment of $20 billion in compensation, and a formal public apology. For 7 decades of American aggression, the world woke to a flashpoint, a crisis spiraling out of control. 3 United States Marines held hostage by the most dangerous regime on the planet. CNN, BBC, Al Jazeera. Every major network broke away to the lead story. The headline was, "Stark, North Korea captures U.S. Marines." The White House Situation Room was at full alert within minutes. The Joint Chiefs of Staff, the Director of the CIA, the Secretary of Defense. In the Situation Room, the discussion was brutally short. The options were laid bare. First, diplomacy. Negotiate through China, a process that could take weeks. There was no guarantee of success. The second option, military force. A high-risk extraction. An action that could ignite a full-scale war. The final option, wait. Hope North Korea simply releases them. A fatal gamble. For the president, the decision was immediate. We do not negotiate with those who take our people hostage. We do not pay ransom. And we sure as hell do not abandon our Marines. His orders to the Joint Chiefs were simple. You have authorization. Bring our people home by any means necessary. At 5 a.m., just 3 hours after the capture, Operation Lightning Rescue was activated. The largest Marine rescue operation since the fall of Saigon was about to begin. Aboard the USS Makin Island, 60 miles off the Korean coast. At 6 a.m., 2,000 Marines prepared for war. 40 helicopters, 20 amphibious assault vehicles, and the tip of the spear, Special Operations Forces. The mission: infiltrate North Korea, locate the captured Marine, and extract them. Get out before the North Korean military could even react. The odds were impossible, but impossible is not a word in the Marine Corps vocabulary. Intelligence agencies worked at a feverish pace. CIA satellites shifted their gaze, hunting for clues. The NSA ripped through enemy communications. Special reconnaissance drones were launched into hostile airspace. By 8 a.m. they had it, a location, an underground military facility, 12 miles deep inside North Korean territory. It was a fortress guarded by 200 soldiers, ringed with anti-aircraft defenses and a hardened command bunker. Deep inside, the 3 Marines were held in a detention block. Basement level, reinforced concrete, a prison behind multiple locked doors. The plan to get them out was audacious. Some analysts would call it suicidal. Phase 1, F-35 stealth fighters. Their target: to destroy all North Korean air defenses within a 10-mile radius. Then came Phase 2. The V-22 Ospreys would begin their run. The insertion point 3 miles from the target, the Unit 44th Force Recon. This was Phase 3, ground assault. Their mission: breach the facility, locate the prisoners, and get them out. Phase 4 would be extraction. Ospreys on standby to pull everyone out. High above F-35s would provide air cover. The window was tight, 27 minutes inside North Korean territory. But if anything went wrong, if they were delayed, if enemy reinforcements arrived, or if the exfil failed, 40 American Marines would be trapped deep behind enemy lines. The potential for casualties was catastrophic. The political consequences: all-out war. But at 7:45 p.m. the order was given, just 17 hours after the initial capture. Operation Lightning Rescue was a go. 4 F-35 Lightning, 2 stealth fighters. They lifted off from Osun Air Base, screaming low across South Korea. They were completely invisible to North Korean radar. At 2012, they crossed into hostile airspace. At 2015, they unleashed their AGM-88 HARM missiles, the target's North Korean radar installations. 8 precision strikes, 8 designated targets, 8 confirmed hits. The enemy's air defense network went blind. The time was now 2018. 4 F-22 Ospreys tore across the border, flying nap of the earth, hugging the dark terrain. They were ghosts in the valleys. Each bird carried 10 Force Recon Marines, some of the most elite warriors in the U.S. military. At 2031, wheels down, they landed 3 miles from the objective. 40 Marines, full combat loadout, night vision, suppressed weapons. They began their silent push into enemy territory. Their destination: a fortified underground bunker. At 2048, they reached the perimeter. Intelligence reported 200 North Korean soldiers inside. 40 Marines were outside. The assault began. Breaching charges detonated on the main door. Flashbangs, then the distinct sound of suppressed gunfire. The North Korean guards never knew what hit them. The Marines moved through the corridors like phantoms. Precision, speed, violence of action. They pushed deeper, toward the basement level. Detention block 3. More locked doors, more breaching charges. The final door blew off its hinges, and there they were. 3 United States Marines, bruised, battered, but they were alive. A voice cut through the chaos. U.S. Marines, we're getting you out. The time, 8:56 p.m., a mere 8 minutes after the assault began. All 43 Marines rescuers and rescued were moving to the extraction point. But the North Korean military command was now fully alerted. A storm was coming. Reinforcements were mobilizing. 2 tank battalions, waves of infantry, and helicopters. The race against time was on. At 9:02 p.m., the Ospreys touched down at the extraction point. As the Marines scrambled aboard, enemy forces were just 3 miles away and closing fast. Then at 9:04 p.m., a new threat appeared. North Korean attack helicopters filled the horizon, but they were met by 4 F-35 Lightnings IIs. Air-to-air missiles streaked across the night sky. The North Korean gunships never stood a chance. They were neutralized before they could even engage. At 9:07 p.m., all Ospreys were airborne. Wheels up, heading south at full speed. At 9:23 p.m., they crossed back into the safety of South Korean airspace. Mission complete. 3 Marines rescued. The final tally: 0 American casualties. North Korea's response: absolute silence, a complete media blackout. Because to admit what really happened would be an unthinkable humiliation. It began at 2 a.m. 3 U.S. Marines captured by North Korean forces. By 8:48 p.m. that same day, America's answer arrived. 40 elite Force Recon operators. They breached a fortified North Korean military facility. At 8:56 p.m., just 8 minutes later, all 3 Marines were free. By 9:07 p.m., but every single American operator was out. Mission complete. Today, those 3 rescued Marines continue their service. Sergeant Mitchell, Corporal Chen, and Lance Corporal Rodriguez. They were each awarded the Bronze Star for their conduct under captivity. And the 40 Marines who risked it all to bring them home, most remain anonymous, their names known only to a few. Their world is one of classified missions and silent professionalism. But their actions that night sent a message that still echoes today. North Korea made a fatal miscalculation. They demanded $20 billion, threatening the lives of 3 captured Americans. But America's response wasn't money. There would be no negotiations, no apologies. There was only a rescue force, 40 Marines backed by 4 F-35s. 4 Ospreys carrying a single undeniable message. We are coming for our own. Kim Jong-un thought he had leverage. He believed that capturing 3 Marines would give him ultimate power. Instead, he invited a storm he was powerless to stop, and a raid he could never admit had happened. This is the DMZ, this is North Korea, and this is what happens when you take United States Marines. 27 minutes, 0 American casualties, 3 Marines brought home. Because a Marine never fights alone, and America never abandons its warriors. Semper Fidelis, always faithful. It's a promise you will be rescued. You will never be left behind.